The Google Stadia was released in November 2019 with a starting price of $130 for the base model, which included a Stadia controller and 3 months of access to the Stadia Pro subscription service. This subscription service offered access to a library of games, as well as discounts on select games and the ability to play games in 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. Upon its release, the Google Stadia was met with a lukewarm reception. Many reviewers pointed out that the Stadia's library of games was limited and lacked compelling content, with many of the available games being older titles that had already been released on other platforms. There were also concerns about the Stadia's high price, as it was more expensive than most traditional consoles, and the cost of the Pro subscription service was seen as an additional burden for players. In addition to these issues, the Stadia also faced technical problems, with many players reporting issues with connection stability and latency. These issues made the Stadia's experience of playing games less than ideal and contributed to its overall poor reception. In the broader context of the gaming industry, the Stadia's release also coincided with the launch of the next-generation consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, which offered more powerful hardware and a larger library of games. This made it even harder for the Stadia to stand out and compete with the established players in the market. However, those aren't the only reasons the Stadia utterly failed. There were many factors that contributed to its demise, and that's what we will be looking into in this video. The conception of the Stadia. Google's foray into the world of gaming began with Project Stream, a service that was announced in October 2018. The main selling point of Project Stream was its ability to run in any desktop Chrome browser, making it accessible to a wide range of users without the need for any additional software. Using AMD Radeon graphics hardware, Project Stream was developed around the game Doom in order to test its capabilities in realistic settings across the internet. In order to test the service, Google opened invitations for a closed beta and offered access to the game Assassin's Creed Odyssey to select testers. Those who participated in the beta received a free copy of the game when it ended. In March 2019, Google officially announced the Stadia platform at the Game Developers Conference, along with the establishment of the Stadia Games and Entertainment division. This division was headed by industry veteran Jade Raymond and focused on the development of internal games for the Stadia platform, as well as acquiring content from third parties. In October 2019, the first Stadia studio was opened in Montreal, and in December 2019, the division acquired different studios to develop additional content for the platform. A second Stadia studio was opened in Los Angeles in March 2020, led by Shannon Studstill, former head of Santa Monica Studio. Overall, the Google Stadia was designed to be a revolutionary new gaming platform that would offer players the ability to stream the latest and greatest games in high resolution and with HDR and surround sound, all without the need for a console or high-end gaming PC. However, as we will see in the next section, the Stadia ultimately failed to live up to its promise and fell short of expectations. How does the Stadia work? The Stadia was a cloud gaming platform, which means that the games were not actually being run on a player's device. Instead, the games were being run on powerful servers located in data centers around the world, and the video and audio of the game was being streamed to the player over the internet. To play a game on the Stadia, all you needed was a device with a good internet connection and the Stadia app or Chrome browser. This could be a PC, a laptop, a smartphone, or a tablet. You would then select a game from the Stadia library, and the game would start streaming to your device within seconds. The main advantage of the setup was that it allowed players to access high-quality games without the need for expensive hardware. In theory, this meant that anyone with a good internet connection and a compatible device could play the latest and greatest games, regardless of their budget or technical expertise. However, in practice, there were a number of issues with the setup. One of the biggest issues was that the quality of the streaming experience was highly dependent on the player's internet connection. If the player had a slow or unstable internet connection, the streaming quality would suffer, leading to problems such as lag, stuttering, and drop frames. Another issue was that the Stadia library was relatively small, with a limited selection of games available at launch. This meant that players who were looking for a particular game might not be able to find it on the Stadia, which could be a deal breaker for some. Finally, the Stadia was a subscription-based service, which meant that players had to pay a monthly fee in order to access the games. This was in addition to the cost of purchasing the games themselves, which could be expensive. Winding down. Google has announced that it will be winding down its consumer gaming service, Stadia. The service, which was launched nearly 3 years ago, has failed to attract enough interest from gamers and has struggled to compete in a market that has seen a slowdown in demand for video games due to the ongoing pandemic. In a blog post, Phil Harrison, the vice president and general manager of Stadia, explained that while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. The near-term prospects for the service also look dim, as high inflation has caused some consumers to reduce their spending on entertainment. In response to the service's underwhelming performance, Google has decided to refund all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store, as well as all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Players will still have access to their game libraries until January 18, 2023, and Google expects to have completed the majority of refunds by mid-January 2023. Last year, Google announced that it would be stopping the internal development of games for Stadia, making the service entirely dependent on titles from other game developers and publishers. In his blog post, Harrison stated that many of the Stadia team members will be carrying this work forward in other parts of the company. He added that the team is so grateful for the groundbreaking work of the team, and we look forward to continuing to have an impact across gaming and other industries using the foundational Stadia streaming technology. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Google Stadia has reached the end of its life cycle after 3 years of operation. Despite being built on a strong technology foundation, the service failed to attract the level of interest it had hoped for and struggled to compete in a market that has seen a slowdown in demand for video games due to the pandemic. Additionally, high inflation has caused some consumers to reduce their spending on entertainment, further hindering the prospects of the Stadia. One of the key factors contributing to the downfall of the Stadia was its reliance on external game developers and publishers for content. In contrast, its competitors have their own in-house game development studios, which allows them to offer a more comprehensive and diverse range of games. Another factor that likely played a role in the Stadia's failure was the lack of support from major game publishers. Many popular titles were not available on the platform, which may have deterred potential users from making the switch. Overall, the Google Stadia faced a number of challenges that ultimately proved insurmountable. While it may have been ahead of its time in terms of its streaming technology, it was ultimately unable to gain a foothold in the competitive world of gaming, and utterly failed. Thanks for watching. All in Tech is still a very new channel, and we try to put as much effort into our content as we can. So every view, like, and subscribe truly counts. If you enjoyed this and want to see more tech-related content, feel free to check out our other videos and give us a sub. Or if you're more into gaming, check out our sister channel, All in Gaming. Again, thanks for watching, and later.